Welcome back to another episode of Pumped Up Tea. I'm Taylor.
And I'm Sarah.
And we are back now to do a Valley recap because, do you want to tell them the story?
Okay, so we filmed the Valley recap on the same night that we did the Vanderpump recap. We just did it all together. It was going to be like one whole episode.
A nice whole, almost 3 hour long episode.
Yeah, and when Taylor went to look, I'm actually very sad about this because there's some really great moments in there that I'm really sad you guys are never going to see. But apparently the camera didn't record, majority of the Valley, so we ended up having to cut it. So here we are. But
life throws you lemons, and so we decided to make lemonade with it.
Yes.
And we hit up somebody that we were already planning on doing a recap with at some point anyway on their pod. And we're late on dropping it because of our catastrophe, but that's okay.
It's fine. Cool.
He ended up just being available so we can do it at the last minute notice.
Yeah.
And we ended up doing our recap with Rob from Vanderpump Robs.
Yes. I said to him yesterday, it was like serendipity.
Yeah. And I honestly was just planning on it just being us, but because I knew that you were already going to record with him the next day, I was like, what are the chances that you just might have a little bit of time for us? And he did, and
it was wonderful.
It was awesome. It was
awesome.
So fun.
So you guys will see that after this really adorable intro from us.
Yeah, so we're doing our intro now. Next week, we're doing another Valley recap with Erica from Bravo T with a stay-at-home mom.
Yes.
You guys might recognize her because we had actually done a Vanderpump Valley recap with her before. So we're glad that we're going to be having her back. And
I'm really excited about that.
We're going to actually do that intro for her episode today as well. So if you see us wearing the same outfit, no, you didn't.
Same day. Don't talk about it. Don't mention it. It's the same day.
No fourth wall breakage here, except all of the fourth wall breakage
all
here.
of the fourth wall breakage, yeah.
Something that the Valley has done very, very quickly.
It took Vanderpump 11 years and it took the Valley 8 episodes.
Very strange, very strange. But funny enough, right, after only a few days, we already have tea for the week.
Yeah.
So when we do our intro for next week's episode, we will probably not have gone over any of the tea. So that's okay.
That's fine.
We do what we can, right?
Yes.
But
you love us anyway, so it's fine.
Exactly. Today is Monday as we are recording this, but tomorrow is the finale for the Valley.
I'm very excited.
I'm pumped. I can't even believe, first of all, I thought that this season was going to be a lot shorter.
I did too. I really thought it was going to end 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I anticipated 8 episodes. I was not expecting this many.
I was still out here past 8 episodes thinking oh, there's only 8 episodes. And then I'm like, oh shit, wait, we're on episode 11? Oops.
Literally. Literally.
But yet somehow all of the tea is basically just going to be a post Vanderpump reunion, I guess, where are they now tea?
It is cover our asses tea. It is we thought the audience would respond differently. Now I have to backpedal tea.
And there's a lot of that going on.
Yeah.
And we'll start with day after Vanderpump reunion Part 3 airs.
Pump 3.
Scheana goes on her podcast and is essentially we don't know when we're doing the show again, so here it is. She tells us that production, and by production, I think she actually said Alex Baskin, basically said to her and Lala that if XYZ things doesn't happen, which she probably meant the conversation between Ariana and Tom.
Which already happened, so I think that's stupid, but okay.
Very stupid. But they basically said, we're going to have a short season, the show's going to be canceled, that's it. You guys will be out of a job, essentially, is what she said.
You know what's really annoying to me is that this whole she needs to have a conversation with him, right, is that she had it. She called you guys. When she found out, she didn't have to call production. She had that conversation on camera.
They would have had a whole different finale episode in season 10 otherwise.
But you already got your conversation on camera, and I don't think any conversation in season 11 would top the one that they had in their living room when cameras picked back up.
Right.
So, what does she need to talk to? It makes no sense. This whole she needs to have a conversation with him narrative that they keep pushing makes no sense. And I don't like this. Well, she needs to film with him. She needs to do this, blah, blah, blah. Do we not remember when Stassi came back and refused to be in the same room with Jax and everything still worked out fine?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it's, you know how many people have refused to film in the same room as other people and it has been fine?
And the tone shifted too because she left in the, what was it, the end of the season 2 reunion or something like that? Or not reunion, the finale.
Yes.
And everybody was all, you have Lisa Vanderpump out there smoking her cigarette like, we don't know if we're going to get another season. I don't know what's going to happen. And nobody gave Stassi grief for that.
No.
But now, you know,
Ariana
10 years
grief.
later, everybody, Ariana does it, and everybody's like, how fucking dare she?
My other thing with this is that they keep pushing. She refuses to she won't let anyone film with him. She, you know, they were saying it in the finale, you know, like, oh, she refuses to film with him. And I'm like, there's literally receipts of her being at the same bar, at the same party, multiple times all season where she filmed with him. They had a screaming match in James's house. Like, she gave you content. It is not Ariana's fault if you cannot come up with something that doesn't revolve around her own heartbreak.
Right. She also had mentioned that she basically says that Lisa Vanderpump had manipulated her using the fact that because her brother had died by suicide, she had a close friend of hers die by suicide, which is a very sad story if you guys haven't heard it before. Mm-hmm. Basically, there were words exchanged between her and another friend. That friend ended up passing away, and that ended up being the last conversation that they ever had, which is a very guilt-inducing feeling. I feel for her when it comes to that, and it gives me a little bit more of an understanding as to why she tried to tread waters a little bit more lightly, but she still could have done that without forcing a conversation. Whatever.
She also still could have done that while not about respecting Ariana's boundaries of don't talk to him about me.
Right.
You can be concerned for your friend, but I don't know. And then at the same time, too, like, that whole thing really pisses me off because it wouldn't be an issue or a thought or a storyline if Tom wasn't throwing that out there. If he didn't use that in his own manipulation, knowing what Ariana has gone through and talked about openly on the show herself.
Because he sees that it worked.
No, exactly. The whole thing is just icky and it's gross. And you could have concern for a coworker, a cast member who is suicidal or who you want to believe is suicidal, because no one wants to believe that someone is lying about that, let's be honest. Mm-hmm. We don't want to believe that Tom is pulling that shit out of thin air because he knows it's going to get brownie points. We want to genuinely believe that he's being sincere about it, because it's not something you should lie about. Ever. Considering that 2 people on this show and your ex-girlfriend all have had battles and issues with it before. But, like, let's be mad at Tom. But you can, and my point is, though, you can be concerned for him without disrespecting your supposed friend.
Exactly.
Like, you can be like, Tom is suicidal. I think I really need to be there for him. And Ariana will say, absolutely, be there for him, because she doesn't want that on her conscience either.
Her decisions are still her own.
Yes.
And her actions are still her own.
Yes.
So I think it's funny how she kind of now is like, oh, well, Lisa Vanderpump manipulated me.
Well, because it's the same with Lala. Everything is somebody else's fault. Well, I didn't mean to do it. Mm-hmm. I didn't mean to do it. I was told you can't say no. Is that sentence? It's like Tom saying that, like, he didn't have any willpower against Rachel taking her clothes off in his pool.
Oh my god.
Like, it falls in the same category of that's a lame ass excuse.
Pitiful.
It's gross.
Pitiful.
You're an adult with free will. You can say no.
Yeah.
And personally, I think if all of the women came together and, you know, were in solidarity of saying no, then production probably would have bent and let them do what they wanted.
Yeah.
Because they know that if all they had to do was look on the internet, do a little scope of what the fans wanted, and, like, if the girls had pushed harder, we would have gotten the season that we wanted. We would have gotten what Summer House got.
Right.
Which was all the girls, friends or not, coming together in solidarity.
I can't wait to get to that part.
I think it's so interesting that those two things, like, the same but different. Like, the way that the two casts have really it's just very interesting. Because, like, the women on Summer House are not all friends, but they still all came together for that one woman. And then...
and nobody ended up talking shit about her later on.
No.
Right? Because it sounds like everybody's still on the same page as they were back then.
Yes. But then you have Vanderpump, where arguably these people are supposed to be more friends than maybe the Summer House people, right? the whole concept of Vanderpump was a group of friends working together.
The cast of Vanderpump wasn't like on a rotating door like the Summer House cast seemed to be.
Exactly. Yeah. It's so like you would think that these people are closer and have more of a friendship than Summer House, but then couldn't be there for their one friend.
Yeah.
It's very interesting to me the way that it's a very clear it's a very clear showing of the way that women, when they have internalized misogyny and when they don't.
Mm-hmm. Very selective.
Very selective, yes. It's like Lala saying yesterday that she's not a girl's girl. I don't know where you got that from. I've never claimed to be a feminist.
Neither did Ariana.
Oh,
but where's the flashback?
I don't know. I really am enjoying the internet pulling up all of these
receipts
and compilation videos of her doing the thing with her speech and her mannerisms. I can't think of the right word right now, where she goes all, I'm gonna pop you, and her selective word use. Mm-hmm. Those compilations are so fucking funny to me because I call her out on that shit. And then there's the ones of like her, wow, what was me? Why does somebody feel bad for me? And then it's just like a 3-minute video of her talking about BJ's for PJs and like all that other. This is why. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I was watching a recap between Up and Adam and Dave Neal, mm-hmm. and they kind of pointed out that like with Lala, if she even was to get any opportunities with any brands or anything like that, it would never have been the same ones that Ariana have gotten, because she has a very different kind of niche, a different kind of market compared to Ariana anyways, you know? So they would probably do like vibrators would probably want her or whatever, you know? Yeah. And it was just such a good point to make because they are such different kinds of people.
They are. But, and that's not bad. Yeah. That's not, no one is saying that's a bad thing. We're just like, it's just like sit down, take the wool off your eyes, and maybe reflect on things you've said in the past and how you have approached the situation with Randall, and maybe recognize that it's not the same.
Right. We'll jump back to Lala in a second, but I put this tea next because I wanted to just get it over with.
Yeah.
Rachel Leviss went to oh my God, I don't remember what the name of the festival was.
I don't know.
Light bright. I don't fucking know, dude. Lights are bright.
Sounds like a rave.
It was. But it looked. I'm not gonna lie. I was watching her stories from it. It actually looked so cool. The place itself looked amazing. Mm-hmm. That's like a type of festival that I would want to go to.
Okay.
And she posted a bunch of pictures from it, and she posted after the reunion aired, the part 3, basically saying that she like lost 8,000, but as we stand today, thank you Bravo Buds, it's now 16,000 followers that she has lost since the reunion aired, and she thought it was because of posting her pictures from the festival. She knew what she was doing. I think she knows exactly why people started unfollowing her. And that...
Oh,
it ain't got nothing to do with her festival pictures.
Oh my God, that's so funny. It's just so much festival content. No, baby girl.
Anyway, here's a dandelion.
So fucking Delulu. Jesus Christ. I did see, they did post also James and Lala and Ariana, I believe, their follower counts.
Oh, yeah.
And James actually gained.
So did Katie.
And Katie gained.
And Allie gained.
Yes. And then Lala lost some, but not a lot, which I think is really funny because it kind of coincides with the theory bubbling around that she buys followers.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Because, like, in what universe does she have more followers than Ariana right now?
I refuse to believe that she doesn't buy followers.
Well, this is the thing. It's that, you know, that expression where you point one finger, 3 pointing her back at you. So you're pointing the finger at Ariana and what other cast members about buying followers. Well, why are you accusing them of that?
Mm-hmm. She claims that it's because somebody sent her a DM. But who in their right mind, right, is warranting this type of communication with Lala that they want to point out, like, hey, you want to know who's buying followers?
It's the same as, like, of the boys or Jax and the boys, and it's the same thing of, like, well, I'm going to accuse you what I'm doing of.
Yeah.
Right? It's projection. You done been caught, baby girl.
Yep, done been caught.
Yeah.
So we got that out of the way. Now let's go back to Lala. And Lala basically did her Q&A as promised. It came out today.
Stupid.
Answering, like I predicted last week, that none of these questions that we wanted to know were going to be answered in a way
we wanted answered.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And that's not to say that like we want her to say things in a certain way just for the sake of saying it.
But be honest.
But she did not give us answers. She gave us word salad.
Yes. And it's so funny because she recognized that like we didn't want what's their names on it with her asking her the questions because we wanted her to be unbiased, but she still had her fucking producer, the one, ask her questions.
I thought that was her brother. I also wasn't listening to the podcast itself. I was just listening to clips.
But yeah, so I'm pretty sure it was her producer that was asking her the questions, which is exactly what we feared would happen because they didn't push her to actually answer the question. But you didn't answer the question.
There was no pushback, yeah.
There was no pushback because she word saladed her way through like I'm watching a political debate and they're glossing over the answer to the question. But no one is there to be like, well, wait, hold on, that's not an answer.
Yeah, for example, somebody asked her why she unfollowed Katie and Ariana.
Word salad.
And then she brought it back to the time her dad died, and she would just do things. And like, she's like, oh, well, it's not like I would never be friends with them again. And I don't think at this point it's about that. I think it's more about whether they will be friends with you again.
Well, she doesn't think like that because it's all about her.
Of course.
And her...
But the answer was that there was no answer.
No,
it was basically just like, let me just remind everybody that my dad died.
Mm-hmm. While not apologizing for what she said about Ariana and her own father.
No. But it was weird because then she acknowledged the hypocrisy in basically saying to Katie that she doesn't need to understand why she has certain boundaries while also not doing the same to Ariana.
Yes.
Which was fine. Okay, we got you to acknowledge something. Gold star.
I give her a quarter of a gold star.
She also mentioned that she herself is not a great friend or really a good friend.
Yeah, that was weird. Wouldn't say I'm a good friend. I'm just a friend. Sure.
Blocked by Jax posted a meme about that, and it was a photo of Scheana from that moment that she had her conversation with Tom last season, and her face was all like this. And she's like, Scheana finding out that Lala was not a good friend. Shit.
Well, shit. You put your eggs in the wrong basket.
Typical Scheana.
Mm-hmm. No, it coincides with her yesterday going, something about homies and her positive incubated life.
Oh my god. Yeah, what the fuck was that about?
She has a hard time using real words, I find. She has a very hard time not using, like, slang for, like, she doesn't... you rarely hear her say, like, normal English. It's always some kind of slang that she throws in there. It's like she's trying to make herself relatable, but it actually just makes you look like an idiot. Like, don't say homie. Just say friend.
Especially after what's the heat that's coming to her now about wanting this to have this black person's persona. Like...
Shut the fuck up, bro.
Right.
Just say friend. Homie who? You're a white girl from fucking Salt Lake City.
Utah.
You're from Utah, Lauren. You're from Utah, Lauren. Like, come on. Like, I can understand if that language is, like... Because, like, I say homie sometimes, but it's, like... I'm not doing it purposefully. It's because those are words used around you growing up. It's about, like, where you grow up, right? And I grew up kind of lower middle class. So our language is different demographically than people who grow up like Lauren in a big ass house in Utah, right? You didn't grow up in like a poor community that uses slang words. You grew up in a big ass house with your mom who paid your rent and still pays your rent.
Yep.
Like let's not pretend that you're coming from like a place that uses slang language.
Exactly.
Because you don't.
Yeah.
You don't. But you're trying to. She's doing it to be relatable. But she's not.
Yep. And then she says that she made a mistake in comparing Sandoval to Randall. I'll give her that one because Sandoval is not smart enough to do a casting couch.
No. But this is that thing with though is that like we all were in agreement that they were terrible men, but you can't compare the two. Like we've all been in agreement that the situations are very different and we shouldn't be comparing them. They're equally terrible. And the only relation that they two have is that they cheated. One cheated on you with randos. The other had a long affair with a friend.
Right.
Like one involves a child one involves a house. Like, they're both equally shitty. It was not the shitty Olympics.
It was not the shitty Olympics.
Like, no one was out here saying one was worse than the other. They're both terrible in their own way. The only people that were out here saying one was worse than the other was Lala herself.
Yeah.
I have a child. Okay?
I'm faking a baby.
You're the one that decided to lay down with that man and have his baby. So,
There has to be some truth to the fact that, like, she did this too expecting some sort of financial gain
100%.
and fame for being
100%.
with Randall. I mean,
she
like,
wanted to be a Beverly Hills housewife.
yeah.
100%.
Oh, yeah.
100%. She didn't care as long as she got Range Rovers and a big house and got to be a housewife.
She'll have She'll have shitty sex all she pleases.
Oh, I guarantee you, had he not cheated publicly, and been caught, that she probably would have kept her mouth shut and stayed because of the lifestyle he was giving her.
Probably. I wouldn't be too surprised.
You were okay with him being his mistress when he had a whole wife. Because he was giving you shit. I mean, let's be real.
Yeah. So that's it. We can now officially wash our hands of season 11 Vanderpump Rules. I don't think that anybody will really be talking about it all that much going forward.
No, all we have now is the lawsuits, the house and Rachel's.
I'm intrigued by all that. I find it interesting too that we keep getting the updates when it comes to the lawsuit with Sandoval, but nothing with the lawsuit with Ariana. And I'm curious as to why that is.
I wonder if it has to do with the fact that her lawyer sent proof that she didn't distribute it to anyone but back to Rachel.
Maybe. I don't know. It's very, very sus.
I'm very interested about that, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens, I guess, when they all go to court. All right, I think it's time, right? We've been holding these guys up long enough. But but because now we're doing this separate from the time that we recorded the recap, I can do this now.
Plug that shit, baby.
Yep. If you made it this far, which I hope you did, because we're about to get to the good stuff right now. But subscribe to our YouTube channel at Pumped Up Tea. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Pumped Up Tea. We have a new editor now. Thank you, Jesse.
Yay!
So we hope that we're going to get all of our exclusive content on our Patreon.
Woo, woo, woo.
And I think that was everything.
Yeah.
Let's get to the good stuff.
Enjoy the episode.
Enjoy our speech with the Valley.
Yeah.
Speech. Wait. Enjoy our Valley recap. All right. So, in case you guys didn't know, we tried to do our little Valley recap the other night. However, our camera decided it was not going to be happening. So
I'm really so sad about it. You have no idea.
So in order to make it right, we were going to one-up ourselves here, and we actually have a really cool guest joining us. We have Vanderpump Rob's here. Rob, how are you?
Hello. I'm great. I'm having a terrific year. You know, the season of Vanderpump has come to a close, but we have so much more Valley to talk about. It feels like with only 2 more episodes of the Valley, or 1 more after this, that I have a lifetime of the Valley to go, you know?
Absolutely. I think that the Valley is probably going to end up taking a whole new life here. And
oh, yes.
this is going to be like the new Vanderpump Rules, the new appointment television.
Didn't it come out right after we recorded our episode that the cast is going to be exactly the same?
I believe so.
It was like Wednesday. It was literally right after we recorded. I'm very excited to see that it's going to be everybody again because I just binge watched this. I prepared myself. And I'm ready for the mess because it's gonna be so messy.
You know, the big thing from that I took from that article is that no one from Vanderpump Rules will be on season 2 of the Valley.
I'm not mad about it.
I'm not mad about it either. I almost feel like I feel like a really big jerk, or like some sort of like I've got some sort of vindication. Like Lala was going so hard, and like everyone's just kind of like, yeah, it's because she's like burning bridges because she's gonna go to the Valley. They bought houses in the Valley, and it's like, hang on, no, she's not. And I'm like, oh, I love this. This is so good.
How's that 3 million house looking to you now, Lala?
Oh man.
What was your take, really, throughout that whole season?
Vanderpump, season 11? Yeah, because I got takes on both of these seasons, but Vanderpump really, like, here's the thing. I know that we all kind of like dip our toe into the fandom socials and stuff all the time, and it's really hard to not be influenced by production as a viewer. But really, the thing that kept being a talking point between my co-host Molly and I was that why does Ariana have to keep explaining herself? Like whether or not you are quote team Ariana or not, like how many times does she have to repeat herself before people are just like, okay, I guess this is just how she feels? And they're trying to like make gold out of shit and it's not happening. Like they just like my take is that, and I've said this like a million times to myself, to the mirror and everything, but like you want to give Sandoval a redemption arc? Okay. Like I understand that Bravo's like, well, no one stays the villain for more than one season or whatever, but it didn't work. And it didn't work because
Villain
yeah,
the entire time.
yeah, no kidding. Or at least they attempt to get people out of a villain arc. And like the thing is that like it wasn't working. And if you wanted to get Sandoval out of a villain arc, like this wasn't the way to do it. You don't spend
No.
all this time like doubling down on like why he's a bad guy and then all of a sudden like essentially to me I think production threatened the cast like turn this into a good season or we're canceling it.
Yeah.
And of course that's never going to be the case anyway. Long story short, like it was mismanaged, I think, this season.
Agreed. And it turns out, I mean, Scheana basically came out on her podcast right away and was like essentially saying the same thing. Like they said XYZ needs to happen or the season's going to be short, the show's canceled.
That's so bullshit. Like
Yeah. I actually put a poll up today because after getting this information, I was very curious. And I'm just thinking to myself, and I'm wondering if anybody else is thinking the same, like, who's the real villain here now of season 11? Is it still Lala and Scheana? Is it still Sandoval? Is it still Ariana? Or is it just production as a whole?
the truth is somewhere in the middle, right?
Of
Like,
course.
and there's so much that we don't know, but like, and that's such an easy cliche thing to say, I guess. But really, like, who are the parents? Scheana and Lala.
Yep.
Who's going to feel the hurt more? Not just because they're parents, but because they bought these expensive houses. But I think ultimately they fall back on like, I mean, my theory is that they're like, well, don't you want a future for your children? Don't you want this? And they also know that Scheana and Lala are, I'm sorry, the easiest to get to do stuff on this show. And
Yeah.
so Sheena's just the only one that at least she fails, but she tries to work with everyone. Lala's just like, I'm gonna go in there and la it up, and she crashed and burned doing that.
Guns blazing. We'll get into the Valley recap because I am curious to know what your take is going to be on this season as well. And we do still have one more episode to go. Before we go into the details of the episode, what were your thoughts of the episode altogether?
Altogether, I am let down by getting this close to the end and not really having anything. I'm enjoying the Valley, but every episode seems to be about 50% fluff and 50% episode.
Yeah.
And I think that's just the suffering of being first season. But this episode in particular, like it's the second to last episode. And that's usually where you get some like big things, some storylines coming to a close, but with like a new secret revealed or something. And we didn't really get that because we all know that Brittany and Jax are on the rocks. We all know that Jesse and Michelle are on the rocks. Like the new information we got is not doing it for me. So I was let down.
It's funny too, because I try to take notes on every episode. Same goes for Vanderpump. But I've noticed every single week with the Valley, like I'm not nearly as in tune with note taking at the Valley as I usually am with Vanderpump. Like I'm usually trying to capture everything that's going on, and just the Valley for me has been, for the most part, a big nothing burger.
I mean,
yeah, when I
literally binged it Tuesday.
Yeah.
I binged the whole like majority of the season, and I was like, oh, I'll take notes, I'll have thoughts, and I literally sat there and I was like, that was
underwhelming.
Yep. Well, that's the hard part because like we're so excited to have Kristen back on our screens, right? Like, and I use the royal we here, but like
No,
the
it's a collective. I was
yeah,
also excited for Kristen. Yeah.
as whatever we've thought about Kristen over the years, like it is exciting to have her on a Vanderpump spinoff show. You know, any sort of world of Bravo is going to be great. And then, you know, when we had the backdoor pilot and we saw Jackson Sandoval going at it together, it's like, oh shit, Sandoval fucked up so bad that he's like making us excited to see Jax. And so like we're like, great, they're gonna be on the show, it's gonna be great. But they have been out of the game for so long that it's not working yet. Like you can see in this season how their attempt at like stirring the pot and creating these storylines didn't work, right? We saw when Jax immediately was like, here's the thing. I go tell Jasmine. Jasmine finds out the information from Michelle. She tells me. I drop it at the end of the season as a big bomb. Didn't work. Kristen tried to drop the Janet bomb early on. All that did was separate everyone from Kristen for almost the entire season. Like,
Yep.
I didn't sign up for the Valley to have like two Kristen vignettes of picking up dog poop and then all these people I don't know in Big Bear, you know?
Right, right. So we'll get straight into the episode then. We're obviously continuing the Big Bear trip, which first of all, I've been saying this from the very first Big Bear episode. I'm so over like the group baby moon. Who the hell does a group baby moon?
Production.
Yeah.
Right. When you're just reaching.
It was obvious that it's just that like season trip that they, because every Bravo show does it. I think Below Deck is like the only one that doesn't, because it's
That whole season is a trip.
well, yeah,
Yeah.
but like every housewife, everything like this, they all like do a trip, right?
Yep.
They couldn't do that because one of them just had twins and the other is like about to have a child. So they're like, how do we do a trip? I know, a baby moon. Wait, everybody go on this baby moon. That's not weird, except it's like weird as shit.
Yeah, I mean, especially in this episode, and I know we'll get to it, but like we have a fantasy party with like aphrodisiacs. It's like the last thing, and I'll say this on my episode that we record tomorrow, the last thing I want to do is be horny around a group of my friends. Like I don't want to like I don't need a fantasy party. I don't need us talking about like, ooh, the oyster does this. Like and maybe I'm just too old, but it's like this is I don't live the lifestyle and I don't want to see any of these people in the lifestyle either.
No, it was very cringe. It was very
Yeah.
cringe. I cringed really hard. I was like, why? And it's so fun. I said this to Taylor in the kitchen that they were like a fantasy party. And me, I go, oh my God, we're gonna dress up like fantasy characters. I'm out here thinking like Jax is gonna come in with like elf ears.
Yes.
And I'm disappointed because it's like everyone's just in lingerie. And I was like, oh, it's that.
If it was like Ren Fair, that would have been amazing.
That would
You
have
know?
been so fun. No, I was let down. It's actually just sex related.
Ugh.
When most of the couples don't even want to have sex.
Don't even want to touch each
It's like let's get down to brass tacks. Let's figure out like what could actually happen at this. But no, we're at Baby Moon fantasy party and then getting loaded. Like we could just have the people who could drink, I guess the men, just get drunk and then have to. There would be enough drama in itself. We don't need to have Brittany dressing up as a puck bunny.
Oh, yeah. She had to
I
teach
had-
me what a puck bunny
I had
was
to explain it
yesterday.
to her, yeah.
I had to do my own Googling as well, and I wish I didn't.
Yeah, it's horrible. Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah.
A little embarrassing for these guys, but we'll go into the beginning of the episode.
Sure.
The girls on one end are basically getting the house ready for a surprise baby shower for Janet. The guys are off on like a boat trip so they can go do some fishing, and they all just collectively start talking about each other and their marriages. So it goes for the whole rest of the season, practically.
Yeah.
Standout moment for me was probably when Jesse gets off the boat to go pee. They leave him. He hops on another boat. He has his Titanic moment saying, I wrote the game. You can't play games with me. What would you say your standout moment was there?
I mean, the standout moment there is that Jesse will take anything to make it about him.
Mhm.
And that it's also like it just reinforces how cemented in eighth grade a lot of these dudes are,
Oh yeah.
because it's not funny. Like, it's not even like that entertaining for us as an audience. Like, the idea that they drive in a circle and Jesse gets in some strangers' boats with other guys that are drinking. It's like, have Jesse go off on like a Cub Scout adventure or something, that's like really weird, and like has to get kicked out of like this like trail hike or whatever. I don't know. It just seemed like it was a lot of nothing and they built it up to be this huge thing when in actuality it was just like, okay.
I remember when they were talking about the Valley and Jax was hyping it up and he was like, it's so different from Vanderpump, but our lives are different. And as, again, someone who just binge watched the entire season in a day, the only difference is they have houses and babies. They're
Yeah.
like, there's like no behavioral difference. Who's married to Nia?
Danny.
Danny might be the only one of the men that I think is like the most grown up, but that's saying a lot because
Yes. And
but,
and you make
it's
such
no
a good
different.
point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
you
no
you make
different.
such a good point, because like Jax always wants to like tout how different and how better his things are going to be. Like, his podcast was supposed to be about reality show villains, and then it just became run of the mill. We used to be on Vanderpump. Let's talk about Vanderpump in the Valley podcast. It's like, that's fucking boring. The Valley has its moments, but it's really just like, what it doesn't have? Any of the drama Vanderpump Rules has. I guess I'm invested in the people and I will continue to watch, and I need more seasons, and I love podcasting about it, I promise. But it ain't better by any means.
No.
And that's saying something, especially with season 11.
Yes.
We really did swear that we were going to stop recapping the Valley at one point because the same reasons. We just didn't have anything all that great to say about it, but same thing. We love to do it.
Yeah.
We complained about Vanderpump Rules all season long, but we still are stuck on that. And if season 12 happens, we're going to do it all again.
Yep.
I might as well bitch about Jax Taylor too.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
The only reason we went back to it is because we did a poll, and unfortunately, the Valley won. So
they better feel my love through this freaking microphone, okay? I suffered through Jax Taylor again.
Well, I don't know if you all heard, and this isn't like, a gotcha moment for you, but I had said on my podcast about these DMs that Jack sent me that were like totally deranged. And maybe you have some listeners who we have crossover now, and if they hadn't heard this, I should tell them, because I think you all will enjoy this. I was at Jax's bar for the 10th episode, and we were watching Reunion Part 2, which was a whole lot of nothing, and then into the 10th episode of The Valley. And I had posted from there because we were actually recording our podcast from the table during commercial breaks. And I tagged Jax, like, hey, recording at your bar, blah, 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 just making a joke about it. Because whatever. Hey, if he shares it to a story, that's more people that might listen to my podcast. I don't condemn his behavior. But he DMs me and he was like, hey, I'm looking for someone to host the bar crawl Schwartz and I are doing in June. We're trying to see if anyone's out there to maybe do it. And I swear to you, he must have had this like copied and pasted, his response, because I was like, oh, cool. Here's how you can contact me. That sounds like fun. Let me know what you need. And he immediately responds like, but I've heard you've been talking negatively about me, so we might have to go another way. And I was like, dude, you responded that in 5 seconds after I responded to you. Like, what's going on here? And then the whole night he was posting all of these depressed Tumblr girly memes on his story. And I was like, oh, he's just doing something. And he'll say that so that someone can respond like, no, I love you. I think you're great. I'm sorry if I ever posted anything negative about you. And that's my theory, at least. And then 2 days later, he messaged me the same thing. We're looking for someone to host our bar crawl. And I was like I said before, sure, but it doesn't sound like you want me, dude.
Right. What the fuck, dude?
So unhinged.
He's a weirdo.
It really like, I'm not surprised by that, actually.
Yeah, not at all.
Yeah, no, it's like him posting on his story, like that text between him and Brittany about what Cruz was wearing, and it feels just like look at me, I'm such an involved dad, and she's off doing this, but I'm here. Like it
Yep.
feels very calculated.
I laughed
Oh,
at that too because it was funny how he posted it twice. And the first
yes.
time he said mom is away, and then the second time he's like mom is away for work, as if like he needed to differentiate. But then why keep both of them? It was fucking weird,
He's
dude.
a weirdo. He's a weirdo. And I love to see him on my TV ruining his life.
Yes.
Seriously.
Yeah.
And but then he gets rewarded for it.
It does make you feel a little bit better about your own life though, because at least I'm not like 45 and like Jack's Taylor.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
It
And
was
remember,
not
let's not
problem.
forget, Jax is like 45 or 46, and he's telling Tom Sandoval he looks bad because he looks like he's 50. And we're like, Jax, you're
balding
almost
on
there,
the back of
buddy.
your head.
Yeah.
You're so red in the face all the time. I'm concerned for your blood pressure.
No kidding.
I'm not.
No kidding.
Let it burst.
Well, I mean, I don't really think it's the blood pressure, but I'm trying to be nice.
Yes, of course. We all know that Jax likes to experiment. I'll put it that way.
Pasta.
Yes.
It's the indulging for me. So Brittany and Mia are talking about Jax apologizing for his behavior the night before, where he basically tried to round up all the girls and be like, tell me how much Brittany was drinking. I know she was drinking. And they're like, no, dude, no, she wasn't. And he's doing this right outside of Brittany's door, so they make up for that. But I think this was probably the argument that Brittany was talking about that lifted the veil for her. Because obviously we'll get there, but later on, Brittany's saying to Janet on the swings that like she's ready at this point to go down the divorce route.
Yeah, it's not out of the cards for sure. And I think what's interesting about that conversation while they're setting up for the baby shower is Brittany like almost doing the math in her own head. Like, yes, he apologized to me, but that doesn't make it okay.
Correct.
And that makes me think about other things too. And Brittany is not a saint. She's got a history too. We all know this. But I love at least being able to see someone on these shows like finally draw the line between all this stuff. And that was good to be able to like see her process that like, I'm glad he's apologized, but that doesn't give him a get out of jail free card.
Because at this point, right, after 10 years of it, she knows that it's only just going to happen again. It's going to keep happening no matter what. No matter what he says, no matter what he does, he's like just going to continue to do these things and treat her this way. And I can agree with you that it feels nice to finally see this because we've been seeing it for that whole time. Just because they weren't on TV anymore doesn't mean it wasn't happening.
Absolutely. And I mean, like my girlfriend and I were rewatching some of season 6 of Vanderpump Rules, which is the Faith season.
It's a good season.
And it's like, yeah, Brittany has a confidence issue, at least at that point in time. It's apparent. And now she is so much more than that. And it's like that's never going to leave you. You know what I mean? That's like people are reminding you of it every day, even if you do the therapy and do the work to get to accept whatever. But I was talking with my friend Kate Shapiro about this rumor that Jax is dating this OnlyFans girl. And like, new stuff comes out every day. Maybe they're not dating, maybe they're not, but whatever. At the end of the day, we're like, we really want that to happen. We ship it, as they say, because that's what Jax wants. Jax just wants, like, he'll tell you up and down he wants to be a good Christian father, and he wants to like do what he needs to do to be a good man, and he's a work in progress. But he's realized that, like, okay, I've tried to go to church, I got married, I had a kid, I'm trying to be a father. Oh, this isn't giving me what I want. Like, yeah, Jax, because what you want is to be able to go out and party and like have this OnlyFans type girlfriend that's like just as wild as you, I'm assuming, and live that weird LA life that and do it. Go for it. Be the person you should be, not the person you think you should be. Because I think that would just make the Valley season 2 so much better. Bring her on, have it be weird, have Jax and Brittany broken up, and like have to interact with this page woman. It would be phenomenal. But I may not get what I wish for.
I wouldn't be too surprised. Apparently, Glorified Gossip Girl had posted that there was an insider that reached out to her, basically saying that Jax said he'd been dating her for a reason. Then this tweet comes out, basically saying, what was it? I wish everybody knew the full story.
So then tell me the full story, Jason.
Yeah.
So give me the story, Jason Couchy. Give me the story.
At this point, though, I don't even care about the full story. Just get the divorce going so we can like move forward now.
He's got a handful of things in his bandolier that he like phrases that he always pulls out. Like, if you only knew the full story, it's like you only see a portion of what's on television.
I'm a work in progress.
I'm a work in progress.
He said that every reunion, his entire time on television.
Every single one.
Did you all watch House of Villains with Jax?
Yes.
I watched until Jax got kicked off, but like I love I'm a good Christian father. I'm a good Christian father. What?
Where?
Keep telling yourself that, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
I was not in any way, shape, or form surprised at how quickly he had gone. I even said it too to my boyfriend. I'm like, bet my money on it. Jax Taylor's going to be the first one out. And sure enough,
he's not smart enough for things like that.
You're going up against these people from fucking Survivor. Like, your goose is
calculated enough. His brain is not, he's not fast enough. He's not quick enough to be able to like keep up with people that like do things like he's just not.
Not at all. Not at all.
He thinks he can get by on like, well, I was a villain and I'm good looking. So like, I'm a bad guy.
Because in the last episode of House of Villains, they brought everybody that got eliminated back for like a day.
Okay.
I think they all voted on who won. So when Jax was back, that was when he ended up telling everybody that Brittany had a stroke.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh my God. What a.
I just say that he didn't get voted off, that he left because his wife had a stroke.
No. So he did get eliminated. Like he couldn't lie about that because we saw it.
I mean, he could try. It's Jax Taylor.
He tried to like lead us down that path.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before it aired.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, because I remember seeing things about it, and he's like, and he was like, because he was so hype about it, and he kept promoting it everywhere all the time, and his new show. And then all of a sudden he like stopped talking about it. And then all of a sudden he's like, my wife had a stroke.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
The day of, I guess he said he tells the castmates at least, he gets a call like as soon as he gets eliminated saying like, your wife's in the hospital and, I'm so scared and nervous. And they basically said that she had a stroke and like he was really painting a picture here of like the woe is me.
Oh,
like,
so it's the Tampa hockey job.
Yes.
Again. Okay. Part 2. Okay.
Someone said something that I can extrapolate on to make it sound more, quote, exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So it was just funny listening to Brittany talk about it on the podcast and have all those memories come back. Because I was like, oh shit, this is how it went down. Brittany eventually then has another conversation with Michelle because a couple episodes back they're talking about sexy text messages that she had been sending a celebrity.
She's the one that's getting divorced?
With Jesse.
Okay, I know faces. I keep forgetting who is who. I know Janet, and I know Janet's name.
Yes.
But the rest of them, I keep forgetting, like, what name matches the face.
Right.
Okay.
They haven't done us justice as the audience to like really define people unless you are like watching week to week and like podcasting about it. Here's the thing, that whole sexy pictures thing, like I've said it before, it's my theory that Michelle and Jesse like legit broke up before season 1.
I wouldn't be surprised about that.
But they had already signed the deal to be on as the couple. And so this whole season is them just like playing house. Mm-hmm. And Michelle, like, I mean, she does not want to be with him.
No, not at all.
No.
Not the whole season. And this is finally the episode where she's like, no, I don't. I think Jesse's doing good in therapy, but it ain't changing my mind.
Right.
She literally straight up said she wasn't attracted to him. I kind of felt sad for him. A small smidgen of me was like, this poor man.
She was just she couldn't pretend anymore.
And that's what. It's the next day where they end up doing it, right? Doing it. What am I, 12? Having sex.
Yes. The devil tango happens after the aphrodisiac dinner.
She just couldn't even look at me.
Yeah. It's like, dude, you get like, I don't know. I mean, I hate to be
That's a very
90s guy
interesting,
here, but
no, it's a
like,
very interesting theory. I can see, I could see that. I can see
yeah.
that.
I mean, everyone's on a journey, but I just feel like when you sign a contract and are getting paid to be on TV, you're like, I don't want to fuck this up. I don't want to
Right.
fuck this up. Yeah.
We'll say that our divorce is happening after the show.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
This will be our storyline, babe. This is our
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
And then now they each now have a new partner to bring into season 2. So this
Oh,
is, I feel like this can spice
congratulations.
the dynamic up a little bit
It's
more.
gonna be so messy. I'm so excited.
There will be
I
a lot
love
of
it.
They should start filming very soon if they do a summer filming like
Yeah, rumor has it it's going to be within the next 2 weeks.
Yeah,
So-
Schwartzy actually is speaking of filming us. Schwartzy apparently is doing like this big travel thing this summer because
Oh, yeah.
it's the first time in like 10 years that they are not working the summer. So he was posting on his I guess he's doing it with like sounds like he's doing it with Babbel.
Babbel, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Yes, the sponsorship. Bo has it too.
Okay.
It sounds like he's like gonna be traveling this summer and like vlogging about it because it's like the first
Oh,
time
boy.
ever that he's like not had to work, which is very.
But he still needs to have a camera in his face.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he doesn't know
Yeah.
what to do without it.
He's
Exactly.
only ever had Vanderpump as his like main source of income, and Schwartz and Sandy's is probably still recuperating from the last like year and a half at this point.
But I am
Hey,
very
I'm-
excited to see the Valley start filming. It's gonna be
Interesting.
Yeah. I'm here for Schwartz's Eat, Pray, Love journey, and I am going to be following along. I hope the Valley starts filming soon, and I hope Summer House starts filming soon
We
because
just hopped on the Summer House train. I just
Yeah.
finished season 1, so I am excited.
wow. Okay.
I am excited to see how everything.
As of this recording, the finale of the latest season was yesterday.
I saw.
It's very odd, like how it ended with Carl and Lindsay, and then knowing that like the show is called Summer House. We're almost in summer. Like, what's gonna happen?
Right. I mean, we've been hearing about this breakup too for the whole entire year. That should have been my first sign to start watching Summer House. But hey, we're late bloomers.
Hey, well, I'll tell you what. Getting into, and I know we're supposed to talk about the Valley, but as we've already explained to everyone, the Valley is fluff. But we're about to get to the good stuff. But
It's all right. We rant and ramble on this.
Yeah,
podcast.
okay.
It's totally okay.
We're known
Can you
for
see
our
my
humor.
my
we're
producer
known
brain turning on? The thing about Summer House is everyone's like, well, it doesn't really get good until like season 3 or something, and I'm like, no, it's like season 3 when like the cast we know now solidified as the cast, but season 1 and 2 are like super interesting to like look back on as like time capsules of like how the show became what it is. And it's truly, I'm excited for your journey is all I'm trying to say.
This is the spin-off from the twins that know Stassi, right?
Yes.
And they
There's that.
It made me watch an episode like
Yes.
after Vanderpump. They like forced it on me.
It was
Yes.
an atrocious episode, but when you
Yes.
get past it and you go into actual Summer House,
Okay, that's what I thought. It was the
They
same.
really did Summer House dirty with that backdoor
Yeah.
pilot. They did it
Yeah.
real dirty. It did not seem like a show anyone who liked VPR would like, but
Yes.
it really is much better than that one. But I feel like the Beverly Hills Housewives people probably felt the same way when they did that with
that's your
Vanderpump Rules.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
I didn't even realize I was watching a new episode, so I was like 15 minutes and I was like, wait, where the fuck is Lisa?
Yeah. Oh, it's her staff. Weird.
Yeah, weird. I'm intrigued.
Right. So yeah, but it only really took me a few episodes of Summer House to really be like, okay, I can get into this.
You know what I really
that the cast is not the same as it
Yes.
was back then.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, I can't wait to see all of these people start like switching out. And I just researched the Workus sisters yesterday because I was like,
Oh.
I'm curious how they're doing now.
Yeah, I need to do that too. Have you all ever watched Southern Charm?
No.
I can't.
That's my Summer House for you right now. I recently started watching Southern Charm, which is really, I'm intrigued and I like it, but it is very weird watching a Bravo show that's like in Charleston. You know,
Oh yeah.
it's very odd. And then like when you get to the COVID season, when like statues start coming down and all, it's like it's very much like Bravo's like, oh shit, we should probably address this on a show. And
Mhm.
like 'cause some of these people's families go back years and are southern, and that has everything that comes with that. But it is
Mm-hmm.
so interesting. And there's a spin-off of Southern Charm called Southern Hospitality,
Heard
which
Yes.
that. Yep.
is what I'm going to be covering this summer on my podcast, because everyone says it's like early Vanderpump Rules.
Oh
Yes,
my
I
god.
watched the
Yeah.
first couple episodes of it because the DJ girl it was on
Uh-huh.
James Kennedy on Watch What Happens Live, and I was like, oh, I'm
Yes.
so intrigued by this. They were showing a clip of
Yes.
something, and I was like, this is so messy. So I
Yeah.
started watching it. I kind of fell off, but I could get back into it. I could.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. I'm going to need guests this summer. So we're going to have to, we'll do our Valley episodes and we'll do
Mhm.
all that, and then we'll
Mhm.
we'll revisit. Sorry, we should probably get back into how drunk Danny is or something.
With his Scottish accent.
Yeah. Outlander.
Outlander. I'm Jamie Fraser from Outlander.
I will
Oh,
say this is the only thing that would ever get me to watch Outlander. Like now I'm like, hey, maybe the show's good,
I'm interested.
Yeah.
Okay, so this next scene really just goes into Janet and Brittany's conversation, but I need to know, like, because I feel like she's such a polarizing character, I've noticed on social media. What are your thoughts on Janet?
Everyone wants to tell us how gossipy Janet is, but I haven't really gotten a lot from Janet proper, right?
yes.
And
Okay,
if
that's how I feel.
and I think that, like, do I think Janet said stuff about Michelle that is different than what we got on TV about those like text messages? Absolutely. Do I think that Janet doesn't like Kristen because legitimately Kristen was outing some truths that Janet didn't want outed? Absolutely. But I don't think she's as messy as we've been led to believe, because if she was, why wasn't she on more Vanderpump Rules episodes? Like that feels like it would have been prime space for her there. But
Mhm.
what do I know?
Right.
I would love to see Janet in prime gossip mode, like actively doing stuff rather than just like the simple like messy stuff, like having her friend in the pink Crocs like report back about the James May t-shirt event. That's messy, but it's not like
It's not like
diabolical.
Kristen. It's not like
Yeah.
Kristen via like season 3 messy.
Like
Yes.
flying out
Yes.
Miami girl to serve.
Yeah, I
Yes.
want
Yeah.
that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes. No, I have found the internet because I sleuth in the subreddits.
Sure.
And
Terrifying.
they are
Terrifying place to be.
oh, they're very scary. um they're very like a lot the internet really does not like Janet a lot. Like they really a lot of them are like she's the worst. She's so messy. She's so gossipy. And I'm like, I don't see it. She's just your typical like it's giving like Stassi. Like she's just kind of out here like, oh, I heard this thing.
Yeah, she does. She stirs the pot, but she doesn't like set the fire.
Yes, exactly.
Mhm.
I don't understand why she's got such I don't know. I like her.
But bring it, Janet. I want to see. Like, if
Yeah.
you are that messy, I want to see it.
Messy.
Yeah.
That's what I watch your TV show for.
Something tells me too, we're gonna end up seeing a lot more messy Janet now that she has already had the baby.
Yes.
Probably being
Yes.
much more conservative back then because she's pregnant. She doesn't want to stress herself out too much with the castmate drama.
Also,
never
can't
mind
drink.
Zach stuff. She can't drink.
Oh, we'll get drunk, Janet. That'll be
Yes.
there. Oh, I bet she's a hoot.
Oh,
Yes.
So we'll probably see some like Kristen level activity coming from Janet, and then Janet and Kristen are gonna have like a big blowout.
I love
That's my
Kristen.
prediction for next.
Tracy
Yeah.
Kristen is the best part of television.
We
It's so
haven't
good.
even gotten to see her this
There's
season.
glimpses. There was murmurs. There was moments where I'm like, she could whip her crazy ass out right now. Mariposa who?
Mariposa. So we go into the fantasy party with the aphrodisiac dinner. We
Horny
have
dinner. Horny supper, whatever it
Only
is.
supper. We've got Michelle dressed up as the booty call that she met Jesse in. Jesse was Harry Styles. Danny and Mia went as Jamie Fraser from Outlander, correct?
Yes.
Nia was going to be Ranch,
Ranch
but
dressing. Yep. It gave me
unfortunate
Stassi
Amazon.
energy.
Yeah, very, very big Stassi energy.
Janet was vanilla. Jason was a hot dog. And then we have Jax on stilts as an NBA player with Brittany as the puck bunny. And then we had Jasmine, who sometimes I forget is even on this show, dressed up as Kalani. And I felt that this was very incomplete. They should have just brought in her girlfriend so we could have gotten the full fantasy experience. I just wanted to know.
Like, I don't know what her fantasy is now.
Exactly.
I want to. What's your fantasy?
And why do I care about Melissa's fantasy if she's not even here?
Yeah. And I think that her girlfriend's like filming something else during something along the line, not F-Boy Island or anything like that, but like I think she was doing another reality show, but not a Bravo show. So they couldn't like talk about her. Yeah.
Makes sense.
But yeah, it is one of those things where it's like, it's interesting that like Jasmine's here because Jasmine is low key one of the most interesting people on the show.
I like her a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. She's like the truth teller, you know. She'll like sit there and be like, "Yeah, Jax thinks this, but he's wrong," you know. And it's just like, "Thank you, the audience proxy, I guess."
Yeah, but she doesn't like. She's not as outworldly like obnoxious like everybody else is with her truths. She's just kind of like the observer, and like if she really needs to chime in every once in a while, she will. Like,
well, like when she called out Simon, right? When she's like, "Excuse me, Simon, what are you doing?" You know, we're like, "Damn," because like I don't know about you, when we were watching that episode, I was just like, because that Simon dude loved being able to say like, "Oh, I met you at Ariana's party." And we're like, "Oh, he needed to get that off his chest, let everyone know he's friends with Ariana." And then like at the end of that episode, like, I'm spying. I'm in the back of the camera, and then Jasmine's just like, "What the fuck are you doing? Get away from here!"
Like being sus.
Yeah.
They're talking about the aphrodisiacs while Jax is complaining about being constipated, which is just code for him, I think, at just being like, I am not gonna fuck you tonight, Brittany.
Yeah, because he's definitely, or like, I'm not doing coke on this trip because I'm constipated. Right? Maybe he's doing heroin. Apparently that makes you constipated.
Oh, that's an interesting take.
I think he's got way too much energy for being someone who's done heroin.
Yeah, right. He just keeps it at the pasta.
Yeah.
I think the only other really thing that happens throughout this dinner is Danny gets too drunk and Mia's just like, you just cussed at me on national television.
Here's the thing about this. I loved that Jason has clocked that like Danny gets a little loose when he's in the sauce, and Nia knows exactly how to get them out of the moment. Like, oh, our Uber's here. Oh, the babysitter. Oh, you know, all these things. And like, he's like, it happens every time Danny's getting a little too much. And this time it's like, we got nowhere to run. We've got nowhere to hide. And, you know, they do set us up that like, that Danny's drank a lot, but it's so, the interesting thing for me, so like I don't drink anymore, and so I feel this scene so intently as a sober person these days, because I think we all have been there when you're like, you know, you're partying, you're on vacation, you're having fun, and you're just over the edge enough that people are like, oh man, they're in it. And then that one thing is said to you that you're just like, changes your entire surrounding and your entire mood. And like Nia is a little ridiculous at being like, you just cussed me on live television, but also knows exactly how to be like, time to go to bed. Like, time to not embarrass yourself anymore.
We're done now.
Mama Nia is shutting it down.
That really felt like it was very mom of her, of like, you just cussed me on national television. You're now cut off. It is time for, you're going in timeout. You're done.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I love that she's like, this isn't dinner table conversation. And then everyone's like, let's have dinner table conversation. Let's talk about the baby moon.
Right.
What is dinner table conversation though when you're all like guzzling down alcohol aphrodisiacs? Right.
Yeah,
Like, what do you expect the conversation? Whilst also all dressed like scandalously. Like, what
well,
do
and
you
we gotta,
expect the conversation to be?
yeah, and I mean, of course, it came from Michelle, like to be like, so you're hard to shop for in terms of houses, and then Danny's like, oh yeah, because we need to live here, we need to do this, we need to do that, and then Jesse just being like, you're bad at acting, and he's like, no, everything I've built myself, I can't buy the house I want, I can't be on iCarly anymore, you know.
Right. It's crazy too. I kind of grew up in like that iCarly and Hannah
Uh-huh.
Montana era. So when I saw his photos in the beginning of the show, I was like, no fucking way. This is what happened to this guy.
Yeah,
He's just
yeah.
out here having three under three babies and just looking for places to live, hanging out with Jax fucking Taylor.
Jax Taylor.
That's the wildness of it, is hanging out with Jax Taylor. Like, how do you become friends with Jax Taylor and still like have a respectable career and family?
What's weirder too is I think he was on Nick Vile's podcast recently, and he
Ooh.
was saying that in becoming friends with Jax Taylor, and he said this on the after show. He was on Nick Vile's podcast, but he said this on the after show. Basically, he met Jax, and Jax was just this like really attentive person. Like, is there anything I could do for you to, make you feel fit in or whatever? Like, very caring gestures, it sounded like. And I was just like, who the fuck is that? That can't be
I
Jax
literally
Taylor.
was about to be like, who the heck are we talking about?
That's not Jax Taylor.
It feels very Tom Sandoval. I brought my sound guy.
Oh, yeah.
God.
But I think too that this episode was very telling of the fact that having the three babies is really starting to wear on Danny, because of the whole like just persisting and asking the group like, how many of you have three kids?
Yeah. And with Nia's like postpartum depression, Danny, I mean, it's not healthy, but it's understandable that Danny's like, I don't want to bring anything else that's going to make her feel bad. Like, she's already feeling bad all the time. And I don't think Danny's not without his flaws, but like, at least in this situation, you can be like, well, at least like his intentions are that he doesn't want to like add more stress to his wife. And that is like maybe Jason is the only other person that could say that on this show.
Right. Yeah. So at this point, right, Jason's probably one of the more pure husbands, at least until the baby's born. Then I'm sure we'll see more.
Janet's husband.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Again, the face.
Not there.
Jason, Janet.
Okay.
Mnemonic
Here's the
device.
thing. If I was looking at their photos, I'd be like, oh yeah, that one. But
if it was a police lineup, you'd know who to say was the criminal.
Yes. I'd be like, that's the husband. Yeah, I just don't know.
Jax Taylor, criminal.
Yeah. Listen, I'll get there eventually. By next season, I'll know whose name goes with what face card. But like right now, it's drawn a blank.
Yeah.
Hey, it happens.
That's true. It took me a while to kind of figure out their names as well. But yeah, now we have the Jax Taylor having a new lady friend that he swears was not his lady friend.
Okay, I'm sorry. Did we not all see the video of him at the bar? His arm was around her waist, and it was very around her waist. It wasn't just here. He was like all, no. Sir, you can't lie to me. You're a terrible liar.
Yeah.
And
the rumors are now off of him having a relationship with his publicist. So who knows? Yeah.
What do you?
I believe that.
What do you think is going on there?
I do not think his publicist and him hooked up at all. Like, I know a lot of people really do believe it. I think they played that up for Jax to just have clickbait.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Jax used that too much whenever Brittany decided to leave him. And so then they can kind of, you have to have a new person so the theories get off of Lori K.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. That's fair. It's even weirder too with this new girl, because Scheana said on her podcast that apparently Jax met her because her father won this auction to play a round of golf with him. So a couple weeks, maybe like a week or two back, there was a photo posted of her parents with Jax.
Oh yeah.
That was because they played golf, and the father was the one who was making them meet. But for what reason? We don't know.
I question the parents and the fans and the family of like the girls that are with Jax, Tom, and Tom. Like, is no one around who being like, hey, maybe we shouldn't?
Yeah, I mean, like, look at Brittany's mom. Like, Brittany's mom was just Jax Taylor's gonna be my son-in-law. Oh
I
boy.
question.
Cha-ching!
Do you know what she's
Yeah.
called on the internet?
Who? Oh, Frosty Lips?
Yes.
You told me about
Did
that.
I tell you? Yeah, Frosty Lips. So now she's just ingrained in my brain as Frosty Lips. Yeah.
Oh man, I will tell you though, the Mama's beer cheese pretty good stuff.
That's what I've
So
heard.
Yeah.
if you end up getting out there, it's worth a try. But it did give me a tummy ache in the middle of the night. So
No.
We're trying to find any reason to go out there and just do like a whole tour of all of them. Sir, Tom Tom, Pum, something about
where are you
her.
all located again?
We live in Connecticut.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, I grew up in Missouri, so I know what it's like to travel to LA to want to do something like that. But wait, you guys could just go. You could do all of the summer house haunts easier that way.
Oh, because me and Montauk are tight. Me and Montauk are tight.
Okay, okay. And then anyway, yeah, you should get out there. And you should get out there while Peter's still working at Sir. Peter is actually a friend of mine, and so uh I think that like if you can make it happen, like go when Peter's working because it is some of the funnest times at Sir because he is just like, yeah, I'm not on the show anymore. What do you want to know?
Oh, I love that. So Peter, funny enough, was the first of all like the Bravo. I mean, not that we have many, but like Peter was the first of the
Mhm.
Bravo peeps to start following us when we were just getting started. And we were just starstruck. We're like,
Oh yeah.
We got Peter because I love Peter. I love Peter since OG like Vanderpump days. Like he's my favorite, like reoccurring. I love Peter. I was so sad when we went back to Sir and there was no Peter.
Yeah.
DM him on IG. He'll come on the podcast.
Oh,
that would be so
my
fun.
God. Okay, we're gonna need to do this.
Tell them I vouched for you because it'd be like, Rob Schulte was just on the podcast and he said we should ask if you should come on. I'm sure he'll do it.
Oh, I love
That'd be
that.
great.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
And he's great to talk to. I'll tell you that.
yeah.
He's so much fun. So
He does seem like such a great guy.
Yeah.
Oh man. So we got through this episode of The Valley. We've got one more left until the season is over. What do you think that we could possibly expect? What are you at least expecting?
Well, the one thing that we talked about up top, but we didn't really get back into was that conversation Janet and Brittany had on the swings.
Oh, yes.
And with that, it's like, it's really trying to point out that Brittany's going to leave Jax.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And then we get the gentleman's lunch where Jax is like, I won't let Brittany leave me.
Oh, I
because
forgot all about that. Yeah.
I have incredibly retrograde views and don't think that people have ownership of their own lives, I guess. It was very
pompous,
uncomfortable, really, to
I'm
watch.
glad that the other men called him out on that though, because he
Yeah,
said,
exactly.
like, that's so gross. And the guys were like, she literally can leave you if she wants to.
Yeah, I love that Jason was just like, well, you can think whatever you want, Jax, but like Brittany could wake up tomorrow and file divorce papers and you wouldn't have a say at all. And I think that that's the fallout we're going to get.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's going to be some Jesse Michelle stuff. Like there's going to be I think theirs is going to be like, we both recognize this isn't working sort of situation. And the Jackson Brittany is going to be the explosive part of it. And then we'll get to see the fallout next year. And I am very excited for it because I also think at some point, Kristen's going to be tied into this too, because even Michelle hints at her cheating on Luke, right?
Oh, yeah.
I get weird vibes about Luke. There's just
me too.
I just something about Luke that I don't know. It gives me the hairs on my neck stand up when he comes on. I don't like it. I don't like it.
I think that Luke means well, but has not been educated well in what a healthy relationship is. And that's because, Luke and I are I guess I'm closer to Kristen's age than I am Luke's age, which is interesting. But like all of these people learned about relationships off of television, right? Like they base everything off of Friends, and that's so unhealthy. But I think Luke has these kind of retrograde ideas of protecting my woman, which then you think two steps further, like that's like ownership, and that's gross. Kristen has agency, especially out of all the people on this show. Kristen has fucking agency.
Kristen's gonna do whatever the hell Kristen wants to do.
And I think that like Luke has these just like I drink whiskey because that's what men do, and I drink, and the way that like Jax does it differently. Like Jax has these like 1950s, like this is what the family does. The guy does this and the woman does this. Whereas Luke's more like this is what a man does. A man drinks whiskey and a man stands up for his woman when people are yelling at her. And although I recognize with Luke that he is trying to do the right thing, like the hairs on my neck raised too, because it's like, well, let's follow that path down. Like, so you need to do this, and you can just be supportive of Kristen, and that's all you need to do.
Yeah. Yep. Stand back. You don't need to be too fully involved in the drama.
Yeah. What he did, one thing I just want to say is that he did win me over a little bit more though when him and Kristen were fighting about why everyone is mad at Kristen.
I did.
He was at least. I was like, okay, maybe I'm just getting an edit of Luke that makes me feel weird. Like here, he's actually saying like, you do need to like own what you say to people.
We kind of talked a little bit about this when we were recapping Vanderpump yesterday, or when
the day that we did it.
The day that we did it. And you know, it's one thing, right? You can still be a supportive partner.
Yeah.
You don't have to stand for somebody disrespecting your partner, and you know they can do what they want to do in public, but behind closed doors in private, that's when you can be like, what the fuck are you doing? This is not how I would think.
Yes, like in public, like you have your partner's back, and then when you get in the car, you're like, bro, that was some messed up fucking shit you just did.
Yes.
Like obviously to like this whole group of weirdos, like you and I are tight as fuck, but like we gotta talk. Let's dissect what you just did. Yeah.
Yep. And let's let that not happen again.
Yeah. Like how do we not do that again?
Yeah.
And my other thing about Luke too is that not only was he just not fully prepared on what a relationship is like, he was not going to be too prepared on being on reality television, and then on top of that, he wasn't prepared to see Kristen on reality
television.
Yes. And also, there was a Reddit post that came up on my notifications. I'm not on Reddit too much. I've told you about this one, but it just came up on my notifications one day, and I was like, click. And it was basically someone saying that they were a mutual friend of Luke's.
Okay.
That said that Luke was with Kristen essentially because it was like a business decision.
Whoa.
Yeah, so it was a good business move.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
They go into like the farm that he owns out in Colorado. I think it was like a weed farm or something along those lines.
Yeah.
So that it would be better for business. But let me tell you something. I went to go pull that post up at another point in time when we were talking about it, and the shit was gone. It was gone. So this could be it. This could be nothing, but maybe somebody found something out.
Apparently, he did seek her out at that wedding they met at, and I don't think he had like this long concocted plan that's like, I'm going to seek out the failed reality star to help my weed business. But I do think there's a little bit of like cockiness of like, ooh, there's a bunch of single ladies at this wedding. I'm gonna go for the one that's kind of famous, and it ended up working. But everything after that probably was. I mean, we don't know what's said behind closed doors, but like they're not getting paid nothing to be on this show. And I'd love to not have to clock into a job and get paid a lot of money.
Yeah, so. Agreement to be a stay-at-home dog mom, but make money at the same time.
Yeah.
Would be nice.
Storylines, we might have kids. Okay.
Sure.
Did I just sacrifice all of my 30s and my prime years so I could have a child with this 40-year-old? Sure, why not?
Okay, why not? We'll tell them that.
This has been a really awesome recap. I'm excited to see you guys in action on your podcast tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, we will be recording. So anyone listening to this, if you want to hear a recap of season 1, episode 11 of The Valley, in a hip new format, come over to Vanderpump Robs and listen.
Yes, I was gonna say, plug away. Make sure everybody can find you, follow you.
Sure. Yeah, podcast is Vanderpump Robs. There's Vanderpump Robs Premium on Patreon, where if you're sick of listening to podcasts with ads and want bonus content, you can go there. And yeah, follow. All the socials are Vanderpump Robs, and I post whenever I do like live streams on TikTok or Twitch or whatever. I'll post them on Instagram. So come on over and listen, because it's I like to have fun. I don't take myself too serious, but even though I oftentimes end up talking about serious subject matter, but it has to be addressed because things go wild in these Bravo streets, and I have to address them.
They're real, but we don't have to get too crazy serious.
Yeah, exactly. And thank you both. This was a lot of fun.
Absolutely. We will definitely have to have you back.
Yeah.
We'd love to do this again with you soon. Maybe for Summer House once we're ready.
Ask me whenever you'd like. I can usually make it happen. I work from home. So
I love that. We are aspiring to do that too. So we're still new now, but hopefully let's give it 6 months, a year. Maybe we could be telling a different story.
Awesome.
Thanks again for joining us, Rob.
Yeah, you're welcome. We'll see you next time.
Until next time. Bye.
Bye.